All right, so hopefully you got the other worksheet done, and now I want you to work on quadratic formula with imaginary numbers. So I'm going to walk you through the first example, and hopefully that will be enough. So the first thing is we need to write out the quadratic formula. And I know you guys probably know it, but it's super important just to make sure for accuracy's sake that you write it out every time. And then it says to be sure to put your equations in standard form first, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Then label a, b, and c and use the quadratic formula. So the first thing I'm going to do is put this equation in standard form. 5x squared minus 4x plus 7 equals 0. A is 5, b is -4, c is 7. All right, hopefully my hand's not blocking it now. So now I'm just going to solve for this using the quadratic formula, and my answer will have an imaginary element to it. So x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So x equals the opposite of -4 plus or minus the square root of -4 squared minus 4 times a, which is 5, times c, which is 7, all of it over 2 times 5. So x equals 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 minus 140, all of that over 10. So x equals 4 plus or minus the square root of -124, all over 10. So now I'm just going to pull I out of there. I is the square root of -1. So 4 plus or minus I, square root of 124 over 10. But this radical can be simplified some more. 124 is 4 times 31, so it does have a square number within it. So I'm just going to come up here. So x equals 4 plus or minus. Now, when I do that, when I take away the square root of 4, it becomes 2 on the outside. So 2i, you always put your coefficient in front of the I, 31. Okay, because little thought bubble here, square root of 124 is the square root of 4 times the square root of 31, which is 2 times the square root of 31. Okay. All of that was over 10. Now I look, all of my terms are divisible by 2. So x equals 2 plus or minus I square root of 31 all over 5. And you can either leave it this way, or you can say, if you wanted to, x equals 2 plus I square root of 31 over 5, and x equals 2 minus I square root of 31 over 5. I'm perfectly fine if you just leave it as plus or minus. All right. I will give you what all of the answers are, but I'm not going to tell you which problem they're for. And then you can check your work when you're all done. So these are the answers. They're completely out of order. So I'm just going to leave that up for a few seconds. You can pause the video, and you can see once you solve your particular equations, if you get one of these answers, you'll know you're on the right track.